Hey guys, Jason here for TheChartGuys again. Looking at gold on the monthly time frame, and as you know, it's Monday. And when Monday rolls around, what we try to do is take a look at the big time frames and work our way down. Remind ourselves what's happening on the macro scale while we trade on the micro. So we're looking at the monthly time frame here, and as you know, if you've been following along, we are in a monthly equilibrium, which means we are bouncing between converging areas of support and resistance. And that area tends to get shorter and shorter over time until eventually something breaks. So right now we are range bound between a few of these resistance and support levels. The most recent resistance is 1346.743, and we are on our way down in the EQ cycle. So we're currently bearish on the monthly and on the weekly time frames. As you can see, our resistance is here, support down at 1160.324. So if you are just following along the classic EQ, what we expect to see is more movement to the downside until we find a higher low, move back up, and we just tighten up like that until something happens. We don't know what quite yet, but that's the fun of technical analysis. So the weekly time frame and the monthly time frame is actually very important right now because we are grinding the EMA 26 on the monthly. We tested last month, it held, and we tested early on this week, and it has held so far. So that is going to be an important level for us. Our monthly EMA 26 is 1269.609 right now, and we definitely need to hold that. If we lose that on the monthly time frame, it will signal more continued downside and finding that higher low. If somehow we manage to hold that level, it's going to get tested again until we can see that we are having a nice monthly reversal off that level, and then we start looking to scout a potential micro bull run or a counter trend during this monthly downtrend. So let's drill down a little bit on the weekly time frame. We can see our action here. Better resolution of this monthly EQ. Now you can see we closed beneath the EMA 26 on the weekly time frame, and it's not the first time we did that. If we go back a couple weeks, we managed to close below that, bounced, got back above it. We're range bound between EMA 26 and EMA 12, eventually giving it back up, bouncing off a very similar level, and now moving back up, again testing that EMA 12 resistance. So if we zoom right in, we can look and see these two levels. Our low is 1266.421, and this low here, 1266.389. So a double bottom. Now, if we go to the daily time frame, we might be able to see that a little bit better. I think it actually works out with more clarity on the 4-hour time frame, and there is our double bottom right there. So our two touches at that level. Now that is important because if we lose this level on the weekly time frame, let's go back to that chart. That means we've lost that support, and we're going to be closing underneath the EMA 12s and 26s, and more downside should be expected. So that's it for the monthly and weekly. Still bearish, currently grinding monthly support, so we could see a short-term counter trend. Now, what might signal that short-term counter trend is actually going to be on the 4-hour time frame, and I pointed this out last week. I think what we're looking at here is a 4-hour descending wedge, so we get converging lines, and we can see that our trend line resistance is sloping down more aggressively than our supporting line. Ultimately, what's happening is just like in the EQ, you're getting a tighter and tighter range, and eventually these tight ranges give. And when patterns break, they tend to move pretty well. So here's a 4-hour time frame, and if we are going to be holding this EMA monthly support level and our EMA level, what is that on the monthly time frame? Let's go back, check that out. 1269.581 currently on the monthly. Go bring back to the 4-hour time frame. 1261 is down here just a little bit. Let's mark that in. Basically, right here, if we have May 10th, it would be 1261. Right on that supporting trend line. So what we could expect to see if we lose this key level, the support level 1266, might be a test of that. But the cool part about patterns is sometimes they show you which way they're going to go. And in the case of the descending wedge, it usually and generally breaks to the upside. So what we could see, in fact, is coming down for a triple bottom, coming up, breaking that line, and then initiating that counter trend that we just talked about on the weekly and monthly time frames. So cool how it all works together. I'm going to be keeping my eyes on that 4-hour pattern. That's going to be key for the short term. And on the hourly time frame, what are we looking at? We are indeed in a hourly downtrend currently. And in order to break that hourly downtrend to the upside, what we're going to need to do is close over. I'm going to feel more comfortable if we close over top of 1288 because we've come up, we've set a low, but it was not higher than this support level. And now we need to set a higher high over, what is our high here? 1285.861. But ultimately, I want to see it close over 1288. There's a lot of indecision here right now. No clear uptrend or downtrend, just a lot of range-bound action between this 1288 resistance and this 1266 support. Something's got to give. And right now, the 4-hour time frame is suggesting that it's going to break to the upside. So potential good short-term counter trend, still playing monthly bearish, weekly bearish, but looking for those counter trend opportunities. Finding reversals at the top of those counter trends or the bottom of those counter trends. In this case, we're expecting monthly EQ. So what we'd look for is a break to the upside. Look for signs of reversal, knowing that we're still bearish on the weekly and monthly time frames, and try to scout entries for short positions on those sort of breaks. So we'll see how it works out in the long run. But that's my current assessment of the gold markets, and I hope you found it helpful.